2/3 of Americans say that climate change is a major deciding factor in who they'll vote for in the upcoming election. So it's not surprising that as candidates try to win us over, we hear more and more about climate change, and one agenda item in particular.
The so-called Paris Climate Accord.
In the Paris Climate Accord.
In the Paris Climate Accord.
Paris Climate Accord.
Paris Climate Accord.
How about the Paris Climate Accord?
This is bigger than politics. Scientists say that we're at a critical point in our fight against global warming, and we can no longer delay taking drastic action to combat it. So whoever we elect in November will decide the policies that impact our climate for decades to come. The Paris Climate Accord was the first worldwide commitment to combating climate change. 195 countries and the European Union signed the Climate Accord in 2015 to pledge to keep the world from hitting the dangerous benchmark of warming by 2 degrees Celsius. The agreement allowed countries to set their own emissions targets and the strategies they'd use to reach that goal. Under the Obama administration, the U.S. was one of the major forces to getting the agreement signed and pledged to cut its own emissions by about 26% by 2025.
2 weeks ago in Paris, I said before the world that we needed a strong global agreement to accomplish this goal. An enduring agreement that reduces global carbon pollution and sets the world on a course to a low-carbon future.
But in 2017, the Trump administration announced it would be withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord, saying that it unfairly restricted U.S. businesses while not holding other major emitters to the same standard.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord, but begin negotiations to re-enter either the Paris Accord or in really entirely new transaction on terms that are fair to the United States, its businesses, its workers, its people, its taxpayers.
That was over 3 years ago, but we're still technically a part of the Paris Climate Accord. That's because the cancellation options don't become available until later this year. And even though experts argue we should stay in the Paris Climate Accord and continue to drastically reduce our emissions, it wasn't a big surprise when we announced we'd be exercising those cancellation options. The Trump administration has historically aligned its environmental policies with its economic agenda.
It took away a lot of our asset values. We are a country rich in gas and coal and oil and lots of other things, and there was a tremendous penalty for using it.
Experts, however, have challenged Trump's claim that the Paris Climate Accord unfairly hurts American businesses, and say that being a leader in environmental innovation actually has significant economic benefits. On the other side of the aisle, Joe Biden has pledged to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord if elected president.
First thing I'll do as your president is rejoin the Paris Climate Accord, which I helped put together. I will invite within the first 100 days the 173 nations that joined that at our organization and up the ante on them to make sure they keep it.
The U.S. is still technically part of the Paris Climate Accord, for now. The cancellation policy doesn't come into effect until November 4th, 2020. That's right, the day after the presidential election. Who we elect will decide whether we honor the original commitment to the Paris Climate Accord or our more recent pledge to withdraw from it. Voters have a lot to consider when they're voting this year, but when it comes to the environment, Americans will have to decide whether or not they want to tackle climate change on their own.